Welcome to the Dump Him podcast, discussing all things modern day dating, learning to love yourself, and when you should just dump him, or her, or them. Hi guys!
Hello everybody!
Welcome back to the Dump Him podcast.
I'm Kitty.
And I'm Francesca. Hello!
We're getting so good at that.
Look at us being all professional and stuff. Welcome back to episode 14 of series 2. Jesus, this is going fast. Kitty,
So fast. You know what? Yeah, I've been all right. Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. Nice.
I haven't got much to report. But yeah, I've been good. How about you?
I've been good as well.
So if you're in the UK, we can now go out in groups of 6 outside, which has been a lot of fun. We've made use of that, haven't we, Franks? We've been out.
We have done. Yeah, it's been lovely.
It has. But anyway, this week, guys, we have a guest on for you, which is super exciting. Franks, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the guest?
For sure. We are joined by Manny Santana this week. He is a professional matchmaker and dating coach based in Miami, and he's also the author of a book called Secrets of the Guy Code, which I think was something we all need in our lives. Is described as a fair, balanced and unbiased book, meaning both men and women can benefit from it, and it's a women's guide to unraveling and understanding a man.
Ooh, that is so what we need.
Yeah. Well, we thought that sounded really cool, so we thought we'd get Manny on. We can chat all about his role as a dating coach and his matchmaking, and maybe find out this elusive guy code and see if we could use it to our own advantage. So yeah, excited to have Manny on this week. Hi Manny, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you.
Hello ladies, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to this show. I think it's going to be a great show.
So we're excited to hear. We've got so many questions. We can't wait to hear about what you've been doing. Just to kick us off, how did you get into your relationship coaching and your matchmaking work? What led you onto that path?
Well, it's always been a journey for me ever since I was younger. I'd say like a teenager. I was always observing and trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong or what other people are doing wrong. And I was always interested in trying to figure out the dynamics of dating, if you will. So as I got older, my desire to understand more became more and more, present. And, I started doing research and things like that. And a book idea came to me, and I decided, in order for me to write this book, I want to associate it with a title. So that's when I found out about matchmaking. I was actually sitting on the couch one day watching TV, and I saw a commercial for a matchmaking company. I said, matchmaking, what is this? So I looked into it, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. This would go along with the book. So that's what I did. So then I just did the necessary steps to become a matchmaker, and bing, bam, boom, here we are.
I love that. I'm so interested by this matchmaking side of things, right? Because I mean, my main question is, how do you pair people, right? How do you actually match people up? Does it follow the basis of opposites attract, or do you actually put, this person's really neat, I'm going to put them with another neat person? Or is it, they're an extrovert with an extrovert? I just find that the psychology of that's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, usually a client will fill out an intake form and will explain, their criteria, what they're looking for in a mate, and or in a partner. I'm not sure, in England, I know mate is a friend, but in a significant
partner. Yeah.
Partner's good. I've got too many mates already. I'm not looking for any more.
So look what they look for in a partner, and usually, matchmaking is usually geared towards busy business professionals that don't have time to go out and meet people. So, a matchmaker is like a headhunter. On the one end, you're going out just trying to build a database of eligible single people. And on the other hand, you find clients, and they say, I'm looking for this, that, and the third. I'm looking for this particular criteria, and then you would go into your database and look who fits that criteria the best. And if no one fits that criteria, then you have to go back out there and headhunt and try to find someone. So, to be a matchmaker, you have to be a very social person. And I'm an extremely social person. I can talk to anyone at any time.
That's so cool. And is it successful? Or does it work?
It does and it don't.
Okay.
The reason why is because let's say, I'm a single guy, and I usually date a certain type of woman, but they're not compatible with me.
Yeah.
I might not be able to see that they're not compatible with me. And the matchmaker, they're not like a therapist or anything. They go with whatever you ask for. So if I say I'm looking for a woman like this, that, and the other, but they're not compatible with me, well, guess what? As a matchmaker, you're gonna go out and you're gonna look for someone who meets that criteria, not knowing that that's the reason why they're single.
Yeah.
So so
Okay.
that's kind of why I became a relationship coach, because it helps with that dilemma where I can figure out what you're doing wrong, and I can say, look, you have to stop dating these type of women or stop dating these type of men, and maybe let's try something different, and let's set you up with this person instead. This will be better for you. Maybe you're physically attracted to this type of person, or or sexually attracted to this type of person, but guess what? You're not emotionally connected or compatible with this type of person.
Yeah.
I think this is our problem.
Yeah. You might have 2 new clients over here.
Yes. See, this is the thing. I mean, I hope I can be as like explicit as possible on this show. Can I?
Yes.
Okay,
Say whatever.
Okay. So, like, the thing is this: a lot of dating coaches, relationship coaches, they're too concerned about being like politically correct, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to tell women exactly what they're doing wrong, so they just fall into the narrative like, you're not doing anything wrong. Just he's the one that's doing something wrong, when she can actually be doing something wrong too. And me, I'm not afraid to let women know, like, look, this is what you're doing wrong. These type of men, they're only after one thing, and you're looking for love. So you can't be looking for love and dating guys who are looking for lust. You're always going to get hurt.
Yeah.
What do you think are the main things that you find that the women are doing wrong?
Okay, well, so for example, there's something that I call the emotional alpha scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people usually, like, let's say, this is a hot guy, she's a hot girl, they're very attractive. It's like, okay, they're in your league, right? You date someone within your league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they call it in England, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's the same.
Okay, I need to come visit England one day.
Yeah,
you do, yeah.
So when it comes to like emotionally, I might be a very buff. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, 230 pounds, and I'm kind of athletic looking. You look at me and it's like, okay, he's an alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
But emotionally, I'm not an alpha male. Emotionally, I'm more of the sensitive guy that you would not expect that from me at all.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing can go for a woman. One woman might be extremely attractive, drop dead gorgeous, but she doesn't catch feelings. She doesn't care. She can sleep
That's
with
me,
whatever man
obviously.
she wants. Yeah, she
You're
can sleep
describing
with,
me there, to be honest.
yeah, which is fine. Some women, they could just sleep with this guy, that guy, and it doesn't affect them at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's other women, she might sleep with a guy once and then she falls in love with him.
That's me.
So no one really caters to you. They might cater to you, but no one is helping you out. So that's where the emotional alpha scale, so to speak, comes into play, because alpha is not just a man thing, it's a human thing. A woman can be an alpha female, but people act as if all women are omega females and all men are alpha males. That's how society acts. It's like, as a man, you're supposed to be aggressive and emotionless and this, that, and the third. But no, as an alpha, that's just who you are. But if you're a beta or an omega, that's not who you are. And as a woman, people expect all women to be omega females, where they just, are very sensitive, very emotional. But some women are alphas, where they don't care about love. They they're independent, or they rather just have flings or whatever the case may be, and that's perfectly fine. In society, we're normalizing that, which I think is the right thing, because if that's who you are, that's who you are. You should be able to be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not who you are, you can't pretend to be something that you're not, because you're just gonna lose. Man or woman, you're just gonna lose if that's not who you are. Like, you're not like an overly sexual person, and you're an overly emotional person, and you're trying to pretend to be a sexual person just to like fit in. Guess what? You're just gonna get hurt.
Okay, so say we have established what type we are, and we have established what type we want to be with. So say the way you describe the alpha male, who's sort of more about lust and emotionless, etc. That's someone, me personally, I wouldn't want to be with. I don't see myself dating. So now that we have established that, how do we then go around finding and dating the right people to fit into those sort of molds, if you will?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's the tough part. Me and my brother was actually talking about that last night. If someone's just looking for a hookup, you could just go to a dive bar. You know what I mean? You could just find any old place where people are just ready to just hook up right then and there. And if you're looking for matrimony, you can go on a matchmaker site, but at the same time you could go to the local church or something, and they might be able to just get you married right then and there. But there's like a in between where a lot of people fall into, and what they do is either they go too far on this side of the spectrum or too far on that side of the spectrum, where they just feel like, okay, I'm just gonna go to a dive bar and hopefully I find a great guy, or hopefully I find a great girl, and it never usually happens. So I think it's a tough question to answer, because I mean, I've been trying to figure it out myself. Really, I think really it's just like your surroundings or social network, or just people being more vocal about their needs, and normalizing that there's like a middle ground. Like, there are some people that are not, like, again, people act like you're either an omega or you're an alpha, because people tend to not realize that there is actually a third thing called omega. It's like either you're an alpha male or you're a beta male, but people translate beta as omega. Like, someone who's an omega, they say that that's a beta male, but that's three different things. Like, an omega male would be like the dorky, nerdy, dweeby guy, and the alpha male would be the tough macho man, but the beta male is like the average Joe. So I think it's hard to find, like what you said, that middle ground, but at the same time, it's not hard to find, because most people fall into that middle ground.
Yeah.
So so if people could like be who they are and stop trying to be someone that they're not, then it would be easy for people like you to find people like you.
Love. So your book, can you speak to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So my book is called Secrets of the Guy Code. So when I first put it out there about the book, a lot of guys were like inboxing me like, bro, what are you doing, man? You're just gonna like make up a bad,
Don't tell them.
It's just like a tell-all book, but it is, but it isn't. The reason why I said that is because both men and women can benefit from this book, because again, a lot of people, they don't understand how, I don't want to say how dating works, but there is like a psychology about dating. Like, okay, like when I was not 9 or 10 years old, my cousin told me, she told me, men are either hot or they're cold. Women are hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, and just switch from here to there. And if you're hot when she's cold, she'll burn you. And if you're cold when she's hot, she'll freeze you. And I was like, what does that mean? So as I got older, I realized what she meant. So my book is pretty much explaining that dynamic. So, sometimes women, they want love and affection. The next minute, she just want to keep to herself, and she wants space, right? But guys, on the other hand, and I talked to hundreds of guys about this, once a guy is hot, he's hot. Once a guy is cold, he's cold. So that emotionally unavailable man, he will always be emotionally unavailable. So a woman she's cold and he's cold, everything is great. But then once she goes hot, he's still cold. But now it's like a psychological thing where a lot of women, they find themselves fighting for his attention or trying to change him, trying to, or you're competing with other women or whatever the case may be. But you're never going to get him to go hot, because as men, again, cold, you're either cold or you're hot. It doesn't change. And on the flip side, a lot of guys, if you're hot, right? But then once a woman goes cold, then all of a sudden that's when he becomes needy and emotional and annoying and all these type of things. And then now that's when he gets dumped, the dump him podcast, right? So, that's really how a lot of nice guys, if you will, they get dumped, because once the woman wants space, he doesn't know how to give her space. So my book kind of talks about that whole dynamic, the psychology behind it, the endocrinology behind it. I mean, everything. I mean, pretty, like, you read this book, you're gonna feel like you went to Harvard or something.
Yeah.
Because I did extensive research on it, and I think it's important for people to understand those dynamics, because that's how you keep from getting dumped as a man on the front end. And on the back end, that's how a woman keeps from being dragged into a 10-year relationship and still wondering, when are you going to get married? It all boils down to the hot and cold dynamic. So yeah, that's really what the book is about.
And so would you say that it's important for women to understand this as well, to be in a committed relationship?
100%. 100%. Because a man who is, okay, how would I put this? I was talking to a friend of mine one time, and then she said her husband, when she first met him, he wasn't even her type. She wasn't really attracted to him, but she fell in love with him. Same thing with my cousin. A few years ago, my cousin's 30th birthday party, her boyfriend proposed to her. And then she said, in her little speech, she said, it's funny, when I first met him, they're both police officers in New York City. And she said when she first met him, he was transferred to her precinct, and then he was just annoying. She was like she didn't like the guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't her type at all, but she ended up falling for him. So when I was talking to my friend one time, she said what she realized is sometimes women can, emotions change. Again, hot and cold, hot and cold. But men, on the other hand, if a man doesn't like you, he just doesn't like you. There's nothing in the world that will change his mind.
We know.
Yeah. But a lot of women, they don't understand that concept. They don't understand that notion. And all that does is make her want him even more. The more and more he doesn't want her, the more and more she wants him, and the more and more she chases after him. But then that's how 10 years go by and you're still not married. And you let all these good years go by. You could have been married years ago. You let all these eligible men go just to chase after that one man, because you was trying to get him to go from cold to hot. And it's just never going to happen by nature. It just doesn't happen. It's just not male nature.
So, Manny, say someone, guy,
Mhm.
is saying that they're interested in you, but they're not really showing it that much.
Mhm.
And there's mixed signals there. Can we go on the assumption that they're cold?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. So this is the thing. This is the thing. He's a player. 100% he's a player. The reason why is because a bad boy, a womanizer, they're usually alpha males, right? The nice guy is usually the omega male, but the player is actually usually a beta male. He's usually an average guy who seems like he's harmless, right? Where a women, right? If she's attracted to a dominant alpha male, he gets her by his dominance, by his masculinity. But a player, he will get to you by not by his dominance or masculinity, because maybe he's not. You thinking, okay, he's a nice guy, he's a decent guy, he's not going to break my heart like the last guy did.
Yeah.
He's a decent guy. But the difference is, the reason why he's giving you mixed signals is because, like what I like to say, he exchanges his heat. If he's hot and he has 100% of heat, he's giving you 20%, her 20%. He's giving 5 different women 20%. And that's why you never get all of his heat. And you're sitting
Manny, this is giving me goosebumps.
Look, I know it's crazy. I know
You touched a nerve there.
Oh man, I apologize. I don't mean
God,
to
no.
trigger.
Don't apologize. This is golden.
Yeah. I don't mean to trigger anyone, but it's important, And
Yeah.
people don't explain this enough. Like I put a video out a few years ago, when I first started writing this book, and I had so many people call me and said, "Wow, I never known that. I never seen it that way." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what it is." Ever since I was younger, when I was 19, 20, 21 years old, the older guys, they would school me like that. I had the older guy friends or older guys in the neighborhood or whatever, and they were just ladies man, or they were, and I saw how they moved, I saw how they operated. And I don't believe in operating that way, but I know how to operate that way because I've seen it. So that's why I can explain how this stuff goes. So it's like, if I'm a man, right, and I'm an emotional man, I'm a beta male. I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a dominant, emotionless man. The only way for me to not overwhelm you is to date multiple women. That way I'll never overwhelm you. And I'll never lose any one of them, because I'll never overwhelm any one of them. Because if we're both hot and you go cold, then I can easily go cold just by going to someone else.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But the nice guy, or the guy who doesn't rotate multiple women, they're both hot. She goes cold. He doesn't know what to do. He freaks out. He becomes even more hot. He becomes even more needy. He becomes even more annoying. And he just pushes her away. But the nice guy, I mean the player, he's like, "Oh, she haven't returned my calls. Okay, fine. On to the next one." And then once he goes cold, now she's like, "Wait, how come I haven't heard from Billy in 5 days?" Now she's hot again. It's a psychological trick. You want what you can't have. Once you realize that he's unavailable, now you want him again. But the only reason why he's unavailable, not it's not because he's like dominant or emotionless or comfortable with his emotions. He just went on to Patricia. And then once Patricia goes cold, he'll go on to Alicia. That's all it is. It's literally just a psychological game.
Yeah. And you know what? I started playing that game recently for that exact reason. Because the thing is, I was thinking, oh, well, if that guy says no or gets bored or disappears for whatever reason, I've got Billy next to me,
Exactly.
And then I've got Andy
cold,
and then Joe. Yeah.
Exactly. And once you go cold, he might come back around and say, "Oh, how come I haven't heard from her? What's going on?" He might text you just because you just disappeared on him.
Yeah. And then you keep that attention cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you see, I'm not making this stuff up.
No, I'm playing my own game that everyone's done to me.
Yeah.
And it's like
the played becomes the player.
No, that's exactly what. See, some people are natural born players, but some people they're just nurtured into being a player because they've been hurt. Now they're like, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna do people how they've done to me, and those are actually the most powerful, most dangerous players there are. Someone who's been hurt, you could literally just like take over the world. Like you could literally
Heartless.
yeah, you become heartless.
But you
And
do, but it's because I feel I'm protecting myself.
yeah,
I'm not relying on one person, and then if that one person goes, then it's just me, because I've got this little army of people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be left alone. And I think I think this comes back to so much of the dating apps is it's so easy to do this. It's so easy to date multiple people at the same time because they're all there at your beck and call. And you get rejected by one. Okay, don't worry, I'm still speaking to him. I'll see him for a date in 2 days' time.
Exactly. And like you said before, you said that you was more of the emotional type. I know Francesca said she's more like the alpha type. She just doesn't care. But you said
I
you're
was
the type
sort of joking, but that's fine.
Oh,
we can go with that.
Okay. Maybe you was joking, but if that's who you are, you don't need to play that game. Kitty, on the other hand, she has to play that game in order to like not get overwhelmed and get hurt. But someone who's like a dominant person doesn't need to play that game. They just don't care. Whether you go here or there, they just don't care. And so that's why like a lot of people, even my sister says it, they say like, a lot of women, they might go for like the bad boy asshole in their 20s. And then once they get to their 30s, they start dating the more average Joe, but then they're no different from the jerks. The reason, but the reason why they're no different is because they begin to adopt that way of thinking. Because they're not dominant and they're not masculine, they can't like make you chase them. They can't play the cold game. The only thing they can do is to play that heat exchange game. So now it's like, okay, all men are dogs. When women say, oh, all men are the same, that's why they think that. It's because some men, they're just, yes, they are actually just dogs, but some men really aren't dogs, and they just have to take on that role just to survive. Like when I was younger, when I was like 19, 20 years old, I thought to myself, as a man, you're either an asshole or a jackass. Oh, no, you're either a dumbass or an asshole. Either way, you're an ass. You just have to pick which ass you want. Like really, it's
I like
easy.
that.
Yeah, really. It's like either I break your heart on purpose, or you're gonna break my heart, and everyone's gonna be like, you let her do that, you wuss, you punk, you know what I mean? Like as a man, like a man getting his heart broken, it's like you're frowned upon. A woman getting her heart broken, it's like you're gonna get emotional support. Everyone's gonna, the girls are gonna get together and eat ice cream and say, all men are dogs, all men are trash. But a man gets hurt, it's like, dude, toughen up. So then as a man, a lot of guys, they just take on that, I'm not gonna be the dumbass anymore. I'm just gonna be the jackass because either way I'm an ass. I'd rather everyone say, how can you do that to her? Then how can you let her do that to you? It's like, which one do you want? So that's how a lot of guys become dogs. They just like have to learn how to be a dog to avoid getting hurt.
Man, the psychologies of dating.
Yeah,
it's a tough world.
It really is. It's tough, and I think like people, we don't understand it enough. I think people don't understand it enough, and I think it's very important for people to really like not beat around the bush. A lot of these dating coaches, they're like what's the word? They're like being politically correct. Me, I'm not being politically correct. Like, I'll be honest with you, the way, and this is facts, this is literally science. When two people have sexual intercourse, a woman's body will produce oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
Oxytocin is a hormone that makes you attached to people.
Yeah.
So, but a man, on the other hand, his body produces dopamine. Dopamine makes you addicted to things. You know,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
dopamine. That's the reason why a certain narcotic, a certain drug, is called dope.
Yeah.
They get it from dopamine. So that's why a lot of women, she falls in love with a guy, she has sex with him, and now she thinks she's in a relationship. Now she's in love with him, but he just wants to have sex. And he's just like, this isn't more than just sex. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? We're not in a relationship. His body didn't produce oxytocin. It produced dopamine. She produced oxytocin. And a lot of people, they say, men think with the little head, but I'm going to be quite frank, women also do. And I think we have to be comfortable with that notion. I think people they see it as like politically incorrect, but it's the truth. Because if a woman goes to a bar and one guy has a conversation with her, hey, how you doing? My name is John. Hi, nice to meet you. But another guy is, he's flirting with her and he's sexual and he stimulates. Who do you think she's gonna want to talk to the next day?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think she's gonna hear? Who's gonna hear from her? They can both exchange numbers. She's never gonna talk to John, but Jim, the smooth guy, she's gonna want to talk to him because she had a sexual attraction to him. So a lot of dating coaches, I've noticed, when they the very first thing that dating coaches, not relationship coaches, dating coaches, there's a slight difference. They'll tell guys is when you meet a girl, build sexual tension, build chemistry, flirt with her. That's the one and only thing that'll keep you from being into the friend zone. So, but the thing is, what people don't understand, a man who can build sexual tension and sexual chemistry so easily is usually a man who only has one thing in mind.
Mm.
So, but a man who actually is interested, it's not that easy for him to just flirt. The way women see flirting, the way men see flirting is two different things. Women see it like it's a connection. Men see it like it's just a race to the bedroom. So women will get attracted to the guy who built the sexual tension, the sexual chemistry, and and kick the other guy to the curb, right?
Yeah.
But then she'll sleep with that guy and never hear from him ever
Yeah.
again. And she's like, "What happened?" And she fell in love with the guy, or she got emotionally attached to him. But the other guy, he just standing in the sideline saying, pick me, and, but he's not gonna get picked. He's like irrelevant to her because he didn't create that tension. And that's the thing that, like, that's why nice guys finish last. Nice guys, they feel as though women don't have sexual urges the way men do, but they do. And if you don't like build into that, she's just gonna see you as a friend. She's gonna be like, wait,
Yeah.
interested in me? I had no idea. So
Yeah.
I've seen
The
it.
amount of times that's happened, I'm like, they come and they're like, yeah, I really like you. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. You're confused because he never flirted.
No, yeah.
Because he was too afraid to. He had what I call gentleman complex. A lot of guys, they have what I call gentleman complex, where they want to be as much of a gentleman as possible. They don't want to like disrespect you. They don't want to like come off like he's a douchebag, he's a jerk, so he's just gonna be as kind as possible. But then you're just gonna see him like he's just a child. He's just
had no idea.
Yeah. But the dominant guy, he's not afraid of not looking like a gentleman. So he's gonna build that tension right off the gate because he doesn't care if you're like you're such a jerk, or he doesn't care. The nice guy is like, she thinks I'm a jerk. That's the worst thing that could happen to me because I'm just such a great guy. So he's just afraid to build that tension. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean,
No, he needs to up his game though. He needs to, get a bit more about him. Then he'd be in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. And you know, some guys are just overly emotional, and some guys are overly sexual. That's
Yeah.
why women, they say all men are dogs, or these guys are just boring. Most men, they don't have the in between.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like for example, I was at this bar one time, and there was this girl. She was telling a bunch of guys. She said, "You know what's the biggest thing that women don't like about men?" And we said, "What?" She said, "Women." She was like, "We tend to sometimes we want to be treated like a flower, but other times we want to be manhandled, and men don't know how to switch it up."
Mm.
But again, it goes back to the hot and cold thing. If a guy, he meets a girl, and you know they're like very emotional, like what I called romantic mode and erotic mode. So when you're in romantic mode, you know, you want to be treated like a flower, right?
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden, you know, you want to be manhandled now, but he doesn't know how to switch it up. So now it's like, okay, he's boring, and now you cheat on him, right? Or you just dump him, right? Or the other way around, you meet a guy and it's like, ooh, he's sexy, and it's like, oh, you both are in erotic mode. Then all of a sudden you start to catch feelings. Now you want romance now, but he doesn't switch it up. So basically, um, you know, erotic mode and romantic mode, you know, I talked to a lot of people about it, and they're like, you know what, that's a very good point. I never thought of it that way. So again, you know, if a woman, you know, she's in erotic mode, she's just looking for a fling, she's looking to have a good time, that's fine. The only problem is she might end up, you know, catching feelings. And now she wants romance.
Hmm.
But she picked the hunkest, most machoist guy possible, and he doesn't, you know, he doesn't want a relationship. So to answer your question from before, how do you know, like, you know, where do you fall into that category? Two ways. If you're someone who always start off on what I call romantic mode, then you're not an alpha. You know, and if you're someone who, let's say you're in erotic mode and you're just looking for a great time, but it always ends up like you fall in love, you're also not an alpha. If you're someone that you can just go out and have a good time, you're in erotic mode and you could just stay in erotic mode. It doesn't matter how many times you sleep with someone, you don't catch feelings for them, then you're definitely an alpha. But if you're someone like you sleep with someone, you wasn't looking for a relationship, but all of a sudden you find yourself thinking that you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, then that just means that alphas just aren't for you, because you're gonna end up getting hurt. Um, so a guy who, you know, he's with a woman madly in love, then all of a sudden she's like, she's looking for excitement, and he doesn't know how to give it to her. Um, Men just have to know how to balance that. They just have to know how to,
Mm.
like, you know, they have to know when to switch it on and off, because that's how these guys be losing their girlfriends, you know.
Mhm.
But the guy who but see, this is the crazy part, and you know, and I'll wrap it up with this. This is the crazy part. If a woman, she's in what I call romantic mode, and she meets a guy and they're happily living happily ever after, then all of a sudden one day she just wants excitement. He doesn't give her that excitement. She doesn't try to uh, um change him into becoming that dominant alpha, right? But on the flip side, a woman who, she finds a dominant alpha and they just having an erotic grand old time, all of a sudden she catches feelings. She tries to get him to become an emotional person.
Mhm.
She tries to soften him, but she doesn't try to harden that guy. But the catch is, that guy who hasn't toughened up, he can actually toughen up if he knew that it was time for him to toughen up. This guy, on the other hand, he will never soften up, no matter what you tell him. But it all boils down to the pursuit of happiness.
Mhm.
That's what me and my brother call it. You know, it's a pursuit of happiness.
Oh.
With the dominant man, you're not happy. You're satisfied. He's giving you satisfaction. Now you're looking for the happiness. So you're trying to pursue the happiness. But the weaker guy, you're happy with him, but obviously, but he's just not making you satisfied. But there is no pursuit of satisfaction. Either you get it or you don't. And if you're not getting the satisfaction, you look for it elsewhere. But if you're not getting the happiness, you're trying to create the happiness. So that's where, you see a girl, she won't tolerate, the beta male or the omega male. She dates him for like a month, 2 months. He does one little thing. She just dumps him. She's like, I'm all set with this guy. But then the alpha male, he can do all types of things. He can cheat. He could do this, that, and the third. But she's persistent and she's trying to she's fighting hard to try to change him, to try to get him to soften up, to try to get him to be a good person. It's because she's in the pursuit of happiness. And that's what it all boils down to. So ladies, you cannot try to create happiness. It's either there or it's not there. When you try to pursue that happiness, you're going to find yourself, it could be years.
Yeah.
I know women that have been in relationships for like 10 years, 15, and the guy he's the same person from day one. Nothing changed. He's still cheating. He still, doesn't want to get married, the whole 9 yards, and she just wasted 10 years. Meanwhile, that other guy that she dumped him for, all it would have taken is for her to say, can you just man up a little bit? Instead of just ghosting on him. And just having that communication, he probably would have been like, you know what? I need to go into the Superman booth, and I need to just, you know what? I need to become that tough guy that she's looking for, that attractive guy that she's looking for. All it would have taken was just a communication that is usually, doesn't happen. It's just, he's boring. Off to the curb now.
Okay. No, this is good because this shows that there is a potential solution.
I was going to say my takeaway from that is when the guy comes to flirt with you at the bar, go for his quiet friend instead. Just ignore him.
That's an interesting way to put it. Yes and no. The reason being is because this is the thing. As a guy, being able to just approach strangers is a skill. And if I can just go up to the bar and just talk to you easily, then that means that's just something that I just do often. That means I can do that tomorrow. I can do that the next day. And guess what? I did that today. I approached 5 different girls today. So if I approach you, I'm just adding you to my rotation. If I'm able to do it with just ease, it takes skill.
Yeah.
But the guy who's timid about it, it's because that's just not something that he does. So guess what? If he actually does approach you, then he actually means his approach. He doesn't have an ulterior motive. And guess what? He's not going to go out and approach another girl tomorrow because it took him all the courage in the world just to approach you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Because he feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
I've done that quite a few times.
Some women do that. And it's something that, if a man knows that it's just a pity party, then it will strike his ego. But I think what it all boils down to is, that's why my matchmaking company is called Meet to Keep. I have a shirt. Well, I had a shirt up. It's not up right now, but I should get it back up. It said, it was for women. In the back, it said, if you want to meet me, you better intend to keep me. So
nice.
Yeah. So I think it just boils down to society explaining to men, look, you can't sit there and just approach women just on a conquest. If you don't have if you have ulterior motives, don't bother. If you have, just only approach women if you have good intentions. Guys just make it too much of this, get as many girls as you can, conquest.
Yeah, like it's sport.
Yeah, it's a sport. It's literally you're practicing. So sometimes a guy might approach you and you never hear from him. All he wanted to do was see if he still has it. That's all he was doing. Seeing if he was still able to get girls. He had, you know what I mean? And that's just wrong, because in your mind you might be thinking, oh, this guy's really interested in me. Just interested in his ego.
That's quite comforting though, because sometimes you would think that it's because he changed his mind about you because you didn't meet his expectations. And actually, it's kind of nice to know that it wasn't ever about me. It was just the fact that I was a girl and I was sat there at the right time. So
that's all it was. Most of the time, it was just practice. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some women do that too. They might, like let's say she's in a relationship and she's not getting attention. She might go to the club and try to see if guys still are attracted to her, just to validate herself to see that, okay, I am still attractive. So, but guys on the other hand, they say, I can still attract women. I can still get girls. And, and again, if you're a woman and you're just looking for a grand old time, you're just looking for a good time, that's fine. I think guys just need like that discernment to know, like, that type of girl over there, don't bother. Like I could be at a bar or I could be at a club with some guy friends and they're like, hey, that girl over there, go talk to her. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to her because I know that she's not an alpha. I know that if I talk to her and I don't have good intentions, I'm going to lead her on. Why am I going to go and approach her? But guys, they just don't care. They just see women. They all this. No, it's like those girls over there. Yeah, they're looking for a grand old time. They're trying to go home with someone tonight. But those girls over there, don't waste their time. And I think it's important for guys to understand how to differentiate that, how to, discern that. Like, you can't just go up to every girl. And I mean, again, some women, that's just who they are. And that's fine. Like, we're all adults. If you just want one night stands and flings and all that stuff, that's fine. But it's important for people to know who they are. And it's important for people to understand she's that type of a girl. She's not that type of a girl. Don't waste her time. You won't be wasting her time because she's just looking for a good time.
Yeah.
And that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, Manny, every guy needs to come and listen to you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do the pet peeve. Manny, we have a little jingle for the pet peeve. So I'll do the little jingle and then you can say it. It's not
really
very exciting. Ready? Pet peeve. Oh, it wasn't quite right.
Please don't do it again.
Okay. Okay, Manny, please, with your pet peeve.
My pet peeve are vehicles.
Oh, okay.
My car is annoying. So the other day I'm driving and, it has the light. I drive a BMW, so it has a light that said low tire pressure.
Yeah.
So when it says low tire pressure, I can't put it on eco mode. Like I only drive on eco mode because BMW just burns gas like crazy.
Yeah.
But when it has a low tire pressure, you can't put it on eco mode. So it's just guzzling gas. So I said, so it was at like 34%. I don't see that as low tire pressure. So I said, all right, fine. Let me let me put air into the tire. I go to a gas station, I put air. As soon as I put air, it literally said 1%. I was like, oh shit. I was like, what the hell? And I'm far from home. I'm like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I don't feel like getting a tow truck. I said, whatever, man. I'm just gonna just drive home. It was a 45-minute drive. I said, I don't care. I'm just driving. So then I get home. Then the next day I said, all right, I'm going to the dealership to fix the car. I go there, it's just completely flat. This was yesterday, so I said, all right, whatever. I just have to. That's why it's a good thing we had this call today and not yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh.
I said, okay, I just call a tow. So I call BMW. They send me a tow. I get there. I'm waiting for like 2 hours. Then the guy, he comes up to me. He said, yeah, so that car is punctured. It had a nail. You have, I have like a tire and wheel, like assurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's like these tires cost like $300. I only paid a $50 deductible. Oh. So he said, but you actually need 3 more tires because the other tires is I'm like, dude, trying to upsell me? Can you know what I mean? It's like, because you see that I'm just gonna give you a $50 deductible. So now you're trying to tell me that this tire is going bad and that tire is going bad, and tell you what, you can get 4 tires for the price of 3, and trying to sell me. I'm like, dude, come on, man. It's like salespeople are like I don't know. I don't know if it's the pandemic or something, but salespeople are like literally driving me crazy. Like the other day, I'm at the mall. I'm checking out some suits. I kid you not. So I tried on some suits. When I was done trying out the suit, the guy literally took the suit, put it at the register, and started ringing it up. And I said, all right, well, I'll be back on Friday. He said, why? I said, I don't have time. I have to go. He said, you tried on the suit. Now it's time to buy. I said, excuse me, it's time to buy. So now I'm obligated to buy it. I was not aware that I signed a contract that said I had to buy just for trying on the suit. And I
Oh
just,
my God.
He's making his own rules. He's making it worth the effort.
yeah. I'm like, so my pet peeve right now are salespeople. I don't know what's going on. It's like, I guess people just trying to catch up, and I get it. It's the pandemic, but it's like, come on, man. Pushy salespeople, they're like getting on my nerves right now. I'm just getting sales calls and what do you call those scam likely?
Oh yeah, no, so annoying.
It's like at an all-time high. It's like you get the same call from the same number like 10 times a day. You have to block it. It's like
blocking them.
Oh man, these
people are bored.
They really are. I don't know what it is, man. But I mean, granted, like, you can say that I'm a salesperson because I sell a service, but at the same time, I'm not pushy about it. It might take 2 months to acquire that client, and that's fine. You just have to build that relationship, build that rapport. I'm not gonna say sign on the dotted line now.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. That's just my pet peeve. These pushy salespeople.
I think that was a good one. That was
very,
good.
very valid.
Oh, well, thank you, Manny. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, and I definitely look forward to this full podcast so I can promote it.
And
thank you.
I would love to be a guest again, because like I said, I just have a passion for helping people and educating people, if you will. I come from a family of educators. My father used to be a teacher. His father was a teacher, and his father was a teacher. So I like that natural teaching ability. That's why I can sit here and just like pretty much. I mean, you guys were just like in class right now. So, I
feel like we've learned a lot. There's a lot to think about, but thank you.
Definitely.
Your assignment is due on Friday.
I'll report back.
So if our listeners want to hear any more from you, where can they find you? Where can they hear more of your wise lessons?
Okay. They can go on, I'm on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Clubhouse. Every last one of them is I am Manny Santana.
Nice.
I am Manny Santana. I am MANNY SANTANA. That's literally all across the board. Wherever you want to find me on social media, I am Manny Santana. And you can go on mannysantana.com. That's my website. And also, I don't know if I mentioned it to you too. I'm starting a master class soon.
Oh,
wow, cool.
So everything that I explained today is literally going to be in depth. There's like so much more I could say today. I'm starting a 6-week master class.
Awesome.
Comes with an e-course masterclass. I call it Secrets of the Guy Code Academy.
Nice.
Like it.
So for people to like enroll and to register, they just go to secretsoftheguycode.com.
Perfect.
So
cool.
it's not ready yet, but in the next, I would say in June, like the next 2 months, I'm gonna launch this class. But it's good to make people aware of it.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll link your socials and your website in the description for the episode as well, so everyone can easily find you there. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us. It's been so interesting and great to hear from you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Manny.
All right,
thanks so much.
You have a good one. I'll let you know whenever I'm in England.
Yes, definitely. You need to come to London and teach the guys here, because they definitely need your advice.
No, definitely.
For our sake.
I did the 23andMe, the DNA test.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I actually have British ancestry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So on my father's mother's side,
Yeah.
And then I asked some of the older relatives, and they said, yeah, they said my grandmother's father was actually half British, so
Oh.
his last name is Charleston, and so his father was from England,
Oh, nice.
4 generations ago. So I definitely need to come to England one day to see,
Yeah, where you
Definitely.
come from, yeah.
So I'll definitely be in England one day. When I'm in England, when I'm in London, I'll definitely let you two know.
Definitely.
Look
And we can
forward
have
to it.
like a seminar, and I can,
Yeah.
you guys stop.
We'll bring all of our guys and our hinge matches to you, and then you can just teach them all. Yeah, perfect. That's what we need.
Definitely. And bring the girls too, so I can tell them, look, this is what you need to look out for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I'll have a good one.
Thanks. Wow, that was really interesting.
That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I quite surprised but baffled by the whole hot and cold thing. It's definitely an interesting one.
I thought that was so interesting. And I think when it comes back to mixed messages, so many people you talk to or you might date, they give you really mixed messages on whether they're in it or not in it. I know we've definitely been in some of those relationships. So it's nice to have a concept now to what was going on and sort of why they're doing that and why that's happening. And that it's very clear to see that they are keeping their options open, which, fine. But I look forward to testing that theory with the next guy that I'm either speaking to or seeing who is giving mixed messages. And to be honest, I'm not sure I'm really going to bother then seeing someone like that a lot more. Like now I know what's going on with them. Unless there's something really hot, I just don't think I'm going to bother. But I am I am world's worst at this, I must admit. Because I do it all the time. Do you know when you speak
hot and cold?
Yeah. Do you know when you speak to someone, you're like, yeah, okay, I can see this. Something will happen. I won't speak to them again.
Oh.
Then I might pick it up again. But then I'm really bad at it, so I can't be too hypocritical. Well, I can't be too someone else.
Yeah, I feel like I used to be like that, but now I just don't ever really remember to pick it back up again. So I just leave it. It's just yeah.
But some people, especially on dating apps, you're having like a conversation with them. And then one day you're just like, actually, no.
Yes, yeah, all the
stop
time.
midway through.
Yeah. But then sometimes guys do it to us, so that's fine.
Yeah,
it goes both ways. But I thought it was really interesting what Manny was saying about the alpha and omega people. I think it's quite, I don't know, interesting. I think there's a lot of thinking to do to work out which one we fit into.
I know, that's what I was thinking as well, because as he was talking about them, I was like, oh, I could be that, but then I could also be that, and maybe that one. So it'd be really interesting to actually sit and reflect and see which ones we are and which sort of dating style and who we need to be paired up with.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well not to think of like the whole like alpha thing as being a positive and then the others as being a negative. I don't know, like it's not something that I've ever really I've known like the phrase like an alpha male and like a beta male.
Yeah.
But I've never like really understood like the distinction between them. So it'll be interesting to like, I don't know, is one worse than the other? Because everyone wants to be an alpha, but is it so bad being an omega?
Yeah, because I think it's always the alpha, the confident, the outgoing one, the one who'll just walk in a room and chat to anyone. But actually there's so many positives for the others as well that it'll be really interesting to see. We can do a little study and work out like the people we've dated as well and see what they are.
Maybe we should watch each other very closely and work out who's the alpha.
Yeah, what was Manny saying, that you were the alpha?
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe in like a dating sense, but I don't know in like just a
day-to-day
social situation, because I feel like you're a bit more of a work the room kind of gal than I am.
Yeah. I'm beyond caring at this point. I think that's my problem. I'm just like, if you're not gonna like me, fine. That's fine with me.
But yeah, definitely an interesting episode.
Yeah,
So yeah,
really
thank
good.
you. Thanks, Manny, for joining us. And you guys can check out the links to his Instagram in the description of the podcast if you want to go and check him out there and see what he's up to. And obviously check out his book, Secrets of the Guy Code, and his webinars as well. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Manny. We are the Dumpin Podcast.
We are.
We are on loads of streaming platforms. I feel it does get a bit repetitive at the end of every episode. So
Yeah,
you can find us in places: Instagram, Facebook, email, website. Just Google us and it'll come up.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes, we'll be back next week with an episode, just the two of us.
Hopefully we've been out on the town.
Hopefully we've got some stories to tell.
Can't wait. Alrighty. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.